Right, everybody, what's up? Michael Edward here, head trader at your trading group. March 17th, a nice day. Not a home run day, more of a, today was like a double. And it was all because of I was trading the bounce in gold. During the market sell-off, we had everything sell off. You even had gold sell off. There was just mass liquidations during this sell-off in the market because of the coronavirus fears. And we had a bounce back in gold. And I specifically traded JNUG today, the 3x bull junior gold miner ETF that has been absolutely decimated. You're talking about an ETF that went from $100 to $6 in a matter of a couple of weeks. And it's not because the price of gold fell that much. It's because of the leverage. The leverage was coming out of JNUG. You had, margin calls and everything on a lot of people, and the leverage came out of JNUG. That's why you see JNUG with this massive drop, okay, as opposed to, GLD, which is not the exact price of gold, but it's an ETF, the Spider Gold Trust ETF that tracks gold. You can see nowhere near the type of sell-off that you saw in JNUG. Okay. But I thought that gold was due for a bounce off of a very major support level. I'm going to show you the support level that I'm looking at here on the GLD. That gave me the idea for this JNUG bounce back day after the leverage has kind of been sucked out of that ETF. And there was a lot of things happened today. So this is going to be a good video. I'm going to talk to you guys about economic stimulus. The Fed did a lot. The U.S. government is doing a lot. There was a good press conference today from President Trump and the coronavirus task force. Actually, was a good press conference. Yesterday was a very somber, not so good press conference that caused the market to sell off going into the close. But today, the market celebrated what was done today by the Fed and what was done by the U.S. government. I still don't think we have a bottom that was put in. So yes, we did have a nice bounce back day in the overall markets, but I don't think it's a bottom. I do think we still have some downside to go, but nonetheless, it's nice to see the market actually hold a bounce back, because yesterday we were not able to hold a bounce back. Before I get into that, I want to let you guys know that tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing a live stream. I've got an announcement to make, and I am going to be doing a Q&A session, and I'm going to be talking about opportunities that I see in the market right now and opportunities that I see in the market for long term. That's what I'm going to be talking about in that live stream. It's in 3 hours. If you guys are watching this video before 8 p.m., I encourage you to join me on that live stream and check it out. So I'm going to cover with you my trade in JNUG, which is where I made the bulk of my money today. I also traded a little bit on BNTX, which announced a deal with Pfizer to develop a vaccine. I'll just pull that up for you guys. BNTX, a huge gap up today. I made a little bit of money in BNTX in the morning, but the bulk of my money was in JNUG. So we're going to talk about this JNUG trade. I want to remind you guys, before I get into the economic stimulus from the Fed and from the government and from JNUG, speaking of stimulus and economic stimulus. So the Fed's doing economic stimulus. The U.S. government's doing economic stimulus. I am also doing some stimulus. So I let you guys know a couple days ago. I'm letting you know again now that I'm doing kind of a true trading group stimulus package, and I'm going to keep the 30% discount for the 1-year all-inclusive membership for the whole year. Excuse me. The 1-year all-inclusive membership, I'm keeping the 30% discount until the end of the month. Okay, just click on the link below, and you guys, that'll take you over to the website where you can take advantage of the 30% discount. The link's in the description below. Now, let's get to what happened today, economic stimulus-wise. The Federal Reserve they announced a special purpose vehicle for a funding facility for commercial paper. That's a very big deal. That's a very big deal because right now the coronavirus is a health concern that has economic impact and economic repercussions, but it's not a financial problem yet. It could become a financial problem. And commercial paper is, I think, where it could start. So the Fed coming in with stimulus to commercial paper, that's basically commercial real estate, guys. I mean, think about it. If a small business is, let's say, a coffee shop or a little restaurant, a hole-in-the-wall restaurant, or a strip mall, okay, or a fitness center or gym, all of these businesses are being forced to close down. There's a lot of these businesses that are suffering, that may not be able to pay their rents. If they don't pay their rents, the people that own those buildings, well, they still have commercial mortgages on all of these buildings, and you run the risk of all of these mortgages going belly up, which could be another subprime mortgage crisis, like is what started the whole disaster in 2008. So there could be wide-ranging repercussions from that if things get out of hand and the commercial paper market just blows up. Could be some real problem there. So the Fed coming in, providing liquidity in that market, they're buying up, and the U.S. Treasury actually is investing into this special purpose vehicle to provide liquidity in that market to keep the credit markets intact. The credit markets have been trading out of whack lately. There hasn't been a lot of liquidity. People are having a hard time finding bids for certain securities, and that's not a good thing during times like this. So the Fed coming in with liquidity for that market, they're injecting. They're doing 2 rounds a day of liquidity into the overnight repo market, which is good, making sure that people have easy access to funding and provide stable bids and stable pricing for the overnight repo market. All of this are good things. This is a little bit more advanced stuff that not many people talk about, but it's important that you understand what's going on, because this is the kind of stuff that can move markets one way or the other. I still don't think economic stimulus is what the market wants to hear, although it did help today for sure, because that was a major move by the Federal Reserve. And the US government is talking about deferring tax payments to the IRS, which is huge. You're talking about being able to defer up to $1 million of tax payments to the IRS as an individual, deferring it for 90 days, which means you do not have to pay your taxes for 90 days, interest-free and penalty-free. You guys know if your taxes are late, they charge you a penalty and interest. With this, they're allowing you to push it off for 90 days without interest, without penalty. Instead of giving the money to the IRS, keep it in your pocket to help you during this time of economic slowdown with the coronavirus. It's also up to $10 million for small business. Okay, if you guys owe, let's say a business owns a $3 million payment to the IRS for taxes, instead of giving that money to the IRS right now, the government is basically saying, keep that money in your pocket for the next 90 days to help you keep the lights on, pay your bills, provide, make your liability obligations, pay your employees so you don't have to lay off people to counteract the drop in sales that people are experiencing. That's a great thing that the U.S. government, the Trump administration, is doing for people. There's also talk. Secretary Mnuchin is talking to Republicans and Democrats about getting checks in Americans' hands, literally sending Americans that are in need a check, whether that check is $500, $1,000, $1,500. We do not yet know the number. They're still working out the details. Now, listen, if you make $1 million a year, you're not getting a check. All right. But I think it's a great idea that they're coming up with this stimulus package to actually get cash in people's hands right now. Originally, Trump was talking about a payroll tax cut, but that'll take time for money to get into the individual's hand through, economics, how everything would work with the payroll tax cut. Giving checks to people puts money in their hand right now, which is when people need it. You have a lot of people, schools are closed. You have a lot of people now that have to worry about daycare and everything, and that weren't planning for that expense. Some people are out of work. I mean, it's just things are tough for people. So I applaud all of these actions, both by the Fed and by the administration. And it's nice to see Democrats and Republicans working together. And if there's one good thing that comes out of this mess, is that hopefully the divide between Democrats and Republicans narrows. So it's nice to see them working together and not being so divided like they've been on so many other issues over the last 3 years. It's nice to see them working together, and I think the market would like to continue to see that. And hopefully, obviously, the American people would like to continue to see that to really get help to those that are in need. So now let's talk about my JNUG trade. Okay, JNUG, we've got to talk about this 1050 area first. Okay, actually, let's talk about the GLD first. I'm sorry, because that's where the idea kind of stemmed from. GLD's gotten crushed, right? But where did it get crushed to? A beautiful area of support. You can see back here, prior resistance highs. We broke above it. We pulled back in. Look at this. Bang, bang, support. We just dropped on GLD. Everything got liquidated along with the overall markets. Okay, even gold got hit. And then look, bang, perfect bottom yesterday in GLD. I'll take you guys to the intraday chart. There it is. There's that perfect bottom on the GLD. And I thought based on this chart that we had a chance for the GLD to give us a continuation move today and look for the price of gold to recover. Okay, so that is why I said, let me look over at JNUG, which has been beaten down to death, okay, for a dead cat bounce. All right. And when we gapped up today on JNUG, I was looking at specifically this 1050 area. And I thought if we were able to get above 1050, JNUG had a chance to push up towards the teens. Why 1050? It was previously an area of resistance back here on the 13th. We were gapping up to this area pre-market. Right off the bell, we pushed and bang, we put in the initial morning high right at that prior resistance level from 2 days ago. So now I love when I see resistance levels in prior time frames line up with resistance levels intraday, or support levels prior and support levels intraday, vice versa, whatever. I love when longer time frame levels line up with intraday levels. So when I saw that today on JNUG, now let's zoom into JNUG. There's your initial morning high. Okay, it lines up dead even with that resistance that we just talked about. So what we had happen on JNUG, let me pan in a little bit. You had the trade line come into play and start to act as an area of support, and then you had a trade line VWAP crossover. Right when you got the trade line VWAP crossover, we had a real nice steady increase in volume that took us through the initial morning high. Once we established that new high of the day, I drew my Fibonacci retracement level out, and I said, wow, would you look at that? The initial morning high lines up dead even with the 38.2 Fibonacci level, which lines up dead even with your resistance from 2 days ago. Let's go back to the 3-minute. So now I'm saying this is my buying zone. Okay, this is where I wanted to get long JNUG. Then we had a real drop off in trading volume during this very brief moment of consolidation. And I said to myself, guys, this actually said not to myself in chat. I said, guys, it doesn't look like we were going to get that pullback all the way back to 1050. We're starting to hold the 23.6 Fibonacci level, and then the trade line was coming up into play as well. So now I'm saying I love the volume profile on this move. I love the technical setup here. I'm going to have to move my entry up. I don't think I'm going to get that 1050. And I got long on that pullback tail right there at $11.08. I'll take you guys to my trade alerts on the day. Oh, here's that BNTX trade. BNTX, you can see here, guys, I'm in at 61.55. I took some off at 66, and I got flat just there below 60. Okay, but here's the JNUG trade in at 11:08. Okay, at around 10:20 a.m. in at 11:08. And right away, we push. We make a new high of the day, and I take a 25% of my position off the table on the new high of the day right there at 12:20. So in at 11:08, 2,000 shares, 12:20. First piece of profit comes off the table. All right. Then we have this big pullback. Now, I didn't panic on this sharp pullback. Why? Because I already took profit off the table. I took 25% of my position off the table. That reduces my risk and makes it easier for me to hold during a pullback. I'm also not panicking out of that because we pulled in right to where? Our support level, the previous high of the day, the initial morning high, the 38.2 fib level, the resistance from 2 days ago. We pulled right into that area and immediately recovered, bounced back, and made new highs. So on the new high, right there, bang, I sell the bulk of my position at 12.75 in JNUG. Now it's 50% of my position comes off the table there. And now I'm holding on to 25%. I was looking for this trade line to continue to act as support. And I really thought we had a chance to get up towards 15. And that's what I was holding that last piece for. But unfortunately, we pulled all the way back in. I held through this pullback because this level held again. But then I got shaken out on that pullback. So unfortunately, we pierced through that level by $1. We went from 1050 to 950 on that pullback. So I got shaken out right there. I exited my last piece of JNUG at 1035. So I lost money on that last piece, but with those first 2 take profits, still well in the money on that trade. That's why I'm saying today wasn't a home run, more like a double. But I'm still happy with the P&L day. And unfortunately, JNUG recovered later in the day. So had that never happened, I would still be in 25% of this trade and probably would have held it going tomorrow. But I got shaken out on that last piece, unfortunately. But still a nice trade, guys, a decent P&L day, and I'm happy with it. Okay, so that's how I went about trading the bounce in gold. We'll see what the markets do tomorrow. We're trading lower already after the bell. We closed up at 253 and change. We're already back down to 249. So we're already giving back some of today's gains. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll definitely have eyes on the overall markets. Keep the futures on watch at night and in the early morning. The futures have really been moving insane. You're getting 1,000-point moves in the futures overnight, sometimes more. So keep an eye on the S&P futures, /ES, ticker for the S&P futures. Keep an eye on them because they've been trading like crazy. Hopefully, guys, we can stabilize a little bit here on the SPY and the overall markets. We have a temporary low put in here. I really don't want to see us just take this right back tomorrow. I hope we don't just erase today's bounce tomorrow, because I do think we go lower. We at least have to test, I think, 2018's low. We're still above that. I think we get to that. And if that breaks, I think we're looking at 2015, 2016 prior highs as our potential bottom. So we'll see if we get all the way down there. I hope we don't, but I think we still go lower. I don't think this is a bottom. A lot of people don't. Most people don't think this is a bottom, but we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. All right. Take care, guys. I'll see you all in chat tomorrow. Don't forget, click on the link in the description below to take advantage of that 30% discount and join me for that live stream at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you guys in chat.